Hey friends, let's read today's story. Long ago, in the rugged mountains of the Northwest, lived a young man named Ethan Gray. He possessed wisdom far beyond his years. People sought him out to settle disputes, solve difficult problems, and guide them when they were lost. Yet one question continued to trouble him. How strong was his wisdom, really? Could it hold its ground against the craftiest minds alive? Travelers had spoken of a place far beyond the woods, a settlement known as the Town of Deceivers, a town where every man and woman lived by trickery. Strangers who entered never returned, for the entire town thrived on deceit. Ethan resolved to journey there, to face their schemes, and to return not only unharmed, but with proof of their reality. At dawn, he began his trek. Days of exhausting travel across forests, rivers, and rocky trails brought him at last to the gates of the infamous town. An old man guarded the entrance, his sharp eyes gleaming as if he could see through men. He warned Ethan to turn back, insisting this place devoured the innocent. Ethan, however, carried no such fear. He was not innocent, but wise. He sought truth, not false comfort. With a dry laugh, the gatekeeper let him in. Inside, the village at first seemed strange but welcoming. People smiled too icily, spoke with a syrupy kindness, and offered hospitality with suspicious warmth. A shopkeeper pressed food and drink upon him, claiming it was free. Ethan hesitated, but finally accepted a glass of lemonade. When the receipt was placed in his hand, he saw the charge 5 gold coins for a single glass. It was his first taste of the town's cunning, and he moved on in silence. The next day, a woman begged for help to find her missing son. Out of decency, Ethan agreed. But as soon as he followed her into a narrow alley, men surrounded him with false accusations. They claimed he had tricked their sister and declared that he must be imprisoned. Ethan demanded proof, and for the first time, the deceivers faltered. He realized then that the entire village ran not only on tricks, but on stories. Every encounter was a snare carefully woven out of words. That evening, at an inn, an old man tried to sell Ethan a book containing every con ever used by the townsfolk. The price was cheap, but Ethan questioned why such knowledge had not saved the seller himself. The man had no answer. Ethan recognized the difference. Knowledge alone was not power, wisdom was. The following day, the village square erupted with the voice of a man on a stage. He boasted of owning land that produced gold and promised wealth to anyone who invested. The crowd cheered wildly at his words. Yet Ethan noticed the land existed only on a map. No one had ever seen it. He wondered why a man with such a treasure remained poor. The speaker evaded the truth with more glittering words, and again the crowd applauded. Ethan understood that in this place, words were not used to reveal truth, but to cloak lies in brilliance. Later that day, a boy begged him for money, claiming his mother was sick. When Ethan pressed for details, the boy faltered and could not answer. The trick unraveled, and the crowd, drawn by the spectacle, saw Ethan expose the child as a trained beggar. Word spread quickly. People began to call him the wise traveler. Some feared him, others prepared to break him. Ethan knew the true challenge was drawing near. His suspicion proved correct when he was summoned to the mansion of the mayor, the town's ruler. The mansion glittered with wealth, golden chandeliers, velvet carpets, and sparkling dishes meant to impress. The mayor, aware of Ethan's reputation, sought to sway him with promises of power, money, and respect, if only he would join their system of deceit. Ethan refused, believing that honor built upon lies was no honor at all. By the villagers' law, his refusal meant he had to endure 3 trials. The first trial was to find truth in darkness. In a room of 5 men, each claimed to be honest, while denouncing the rest as liars. Ethan listened carefully, their breathing, the rhythm of their words, the weight of their silence, and singled out the true speaker. He passed. The second trial tested his heart against greed. Mountains of treasure lay before him, and he was told he could take only one item. If his choice was pure, he would lose nothing. If selfish, he would lose everything. Ethan ignored the gold and chose an old map. The map, it turned out, contained the town's real laws. His choice was correct. The third and hardest trial demanded that he turn lies into truth. He had to convince the crowd with a falsehood so strong they would believe it. Ethan stood before them and declared that he had deceived them all, blinded them, and lied to them from the start. The people gasped, yet as they leaned closer, he revealed the deeper trap that their willingness to believe his words, without evidence, proved they could not distinguish between truth and lies. When truth was spoken, they rejected it. When lies flattered them, they cheered. Shame fell over the square. Ethan had passed the final test, but victory only sharpened the danger. That night, the mayor and his allies plotted to silence him forever. If Ethan returned to the outside world, the secret of their village would be destroyed. The following morning, the town lay silent. Doors were shut, windows sealed, streets empty. Only the mayor's proclamation echoed. That day in the square, the fate of the wise traveler would be decided. Ethan stood alone before the crowd. The mayor, flanked by armed guards, demanded his surrender and offered him release if he would renounce his mission and admit that truth had no place in their village. Ethan refused. He declared that their entire system enslaved people in illusions, turning lies into law and truth into crime. For a moment, silence gripped the crowd. Then, a voice broke through. It was the beggar who had once tried to trick Ethan. He admitted that Ethan was right, that they were all drowning in lies and had become prisoners of their own deceit. More voices followed, until the entire square roared with defiance. Guards hesitated, and the mayor retreated. Seizing the moment, Ethan rose upon a stone and called for a new beginning. The people could choose whether to remain a town of lies or to build a community grounded in truth, where wisdom was not a crime and honesty was not weakness. The crowd erupted in chants of liberation, stormed the mayor's mansion, and forced him to surrender. Though some wanted punishment, Ethan urged mercy. True justice, he reminded them, was measured by reform, not revenge. The mayor was exiled, his accomplices placed on public trial. In the weeks that followed, Ethan guided the people in rewriting their laws, teaching their children, and restoring dignity to the old. The village's name was changed from the Town of Deceivers to Liberty Town. When order returned, Ethan prepared to leave. The people begged him to stay, but he refused. His mission was larger than one town. Many places still languished in darkness. As he walked toward the mountains, a small child asked if he would ever return. Ethan promised that whenever truth was needed, he would be found. The sun's first rays touched his face as he climbed the ridge, as though nature itself sealed his triumph. And so the young man transformed a village of liars into a city of light and left behind a timeless lesson. Truth may seem fragile, but when it stands firm, it can topple every fortress of lies.